Hello, Bible Beaters. Welcome to another episode of the Bible Beater Podcast. This is the Lord of Hosts, Caleb Campbell, joined as always by the interrupter, Kyle Vestner. How's it going anyways, Kyle?
I don't know what to do with my hands anymore.
Oh, because we're on,
Now that we got chairs
on video?
Yeah, but they like...
Just sit like you're on a throne. This is how, you know when King David sat on his throne? This is how he sat uncomfortably with his shoulders too high. Every time he fucking, got up, he had to pop his shoulder blades like this. Oh, fuck. Like that.
Oh, just permanently fusing in that position, the position of authority. I don't have any peasants to look at, so it's...
You got one peasant in the closet in his pajama peasant.
That's true. I should look at young T.
I also had to make
better posture.
Some change. I had to get a haircut now that we're on YouTube. I saw that 53 people saw me look homeless. So,
are you counting the views?
Yes.
That's funny.
Yeah, I got fucking scratches in my wall in my kitchen.
YouTube, Canada Comedy Network. Or you can go to canadacomedy.ca and click the YouTube button on the site.
You know what's fucked? I signed up for comedy because, I didn't sign up. I always wanted to do it. But one of the perks I always thought you get when you're a comedian.
You never have to do any work.
Which we aren't. Oh, which we don't. I mean, you do.
I do so much work.
I don't consider it work. I don't consider it work, Kyle, because I love my job.
This part is dope. This part's the best. You know what's not good? Fucking with hardware.
Yeah, that sucks.
Recording.
Guess
what? One of my recordings I just found out blacked out 3/4 of the way. Well, a quarter of the way in.
Yeah, this is, by the way, the worst self-promo we've ever done.
Yeah, fuck it, dude.
It's the Have You Met Chad podcast. Go look at it.
Chad podcast?
Have You Met Chad podcast. There's 20 minutes that you can see, and the rest is black screen.
Yeah, now I would fix it right after this, but that's okay. You know why? Because I love it.
My point was
It's for the love of the game.
I thought to myself, when you're a comedian, which I'm not, but I thought if I ever made it.
No one is now.
Nobody is. My point is, I got into this business thinking I get to dress however I want. I don't have to fucking wear a suit. I don't have to get a haircut and all this crap, right? Turns out you do, kind of.
No.
You kind of do.
You don't need it. That's your vanity we were talking about before.
Fuck off.
Your vanity. Forcing you to get the haircut knowing people are watching. I haven't got my haircut in months. I'm not getting a cut.
Dude, straight up, I notice if I quote unquote look good and just have a haircut, wear a nicer fitting shirt than when I have shaggy fucking beard, shaggy fucking hair. Yeah. It takes me less time to get the crowd on my side. That's just a fact. If you look good, crowds react better.
You think so?
You don't think so? Why do you think you get dressed up every time you go on stage?
Well, I got to dress down because I look too good.
Fuck you.
So that's a problem. See, if you look too good, they hate you.
Okay.
So I got to dress up.
That's your problem. You look too good.
Yeah.
That's why every audience hates you. They're jealous of your success.
It's not jealousy. It's they're looking at their they're looking at their high school jock bully. You
the
know,
fucking
and I
pussy on a pedestal is what they're looking at. Winnipeg's the shit. So
I think you just called me a pussy.
I did. I said pussy on a pedestal, and then I was like, that actually works
because of the stool.
Yeah, but yeah, exactly. No.
Oh, how are you saying it?
I was just saying it like the fucking quote from.
That's don't put pussy on a pedestal.
I know. Whatever. I used it incorrectly, but it became correct, and I will stand by that for the rest of the time. Now I look at the screen. I watched our own little video just to see how we looked on camera. Yeah. Super fat. I look.
Oh yeah, I started going to the gym. Immediately, I was like, I've lost like 10 pounds and gotten insanely skinny just staying at home every day.
I fucking read the Bible as if I were conducting an orchestra.
That's beautiful, dude.
When you said you don't know what you're doing with your hands, I was like, just be normal. And there I am doing this like every fucking there's no reason for me to do that.
You must be Italian. By the way, the symbol you keep making is white power now.
No, it's not. Kate.
Yes, it is. This is white power, according to 4chan, which trolled the whole world yet again. I've been watching 4chan shit on YouTube, like stories of stuff that 4chan has done, and most of it's hilarious.
Yeah, the trolling is funny, and it's hilarious that they got everyone to believe, but now all of a sudden, they've almost trolled us too far. I don't know.
They're not responsible. They're reflecting society.
I get it.
Yeah.
Do you know what I want to get to?
What?
And I think that you'll like this. I want to get to a point.
Are we about to get our guns and shoot the government up?
No. I want to get to a point
like that.
Where racism and misogyny and all those bad things that we should eradicate from society are nostalgic. Like, remember how racist we used to be? And it's like funny. Remember when we had a team called the Washington Redskins?
Well,
like
the
up till
point is-
2020? That's kind of bad.
Yeah, that.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
But the problem is pretending not talking about it or whatever we had before. Pretending everyone is racist when they're not is not good.
I just got shot in the eye with the coffee. How did that even
Like
happen?
not being able. I don't know. I don't know, dude. Are you gonna be all right? You gonna survive
right
it?
in my eye.
Like when we used to, when you used to be able to make race jokes, pretending not everyone's exactly the same.
Yeah.
That was a nice time.
That was a nice time, but there was a hint of venom behind some of it. You could say. You could say.
Yes, no, there is.
I'm talking about I'm talking about maybe like 300 years.
What are we gonna eradicate dickheads?
When everyone's beige, and it's like, could you?
The only way what you're saying is possible. First of all, people are tribal. That's why they do it.
I know.
So the beige people will be the beige people over here and the beige people over here. It'll make no fucking difference.
Eventually, everyone will be beige.
No, eventually everyone
if we don't
will just
nuke
be
the world,
doped up with government-mandated hormones so everyone's temperament is exactly the same, and that's how we go through life.
Brave New World.
Is that what it is?
Yeah, that's why I said Brave
Are
New
books
World.
coming to life?
Yes, that's what everyone talks about, Kyle. You should read one.
I read them?
You should read one or two. Everyone says 1984 is how it goes down, but Brave New World is actually the smarter
I'm reading
one.
that 1984, but the book inside the book is stupid. So
Whatever.
it's hard to get past it. It's so long.
Okay.
It's
so long. I've never read one book before. 1984 is like 250 pages.
No, I mean the book inside the book. It's like fucking 20 pages of him reading a book, and the book he reads within the book sucks.
I was about to make fun of you, but then
this
I realized
book's better, and we only read like 2 paragraphs.
I was gonna say it's taken you fucking over 2 years, almost 3 years, to read 500 pages.
By the way,
of this book.
This is how I read. I'm bringing Caleb down to my level. This is how I actually read.
I'll
in
read
real
you,
life.
dude. Fuck, we should do, man. I'll read fucking books for you. I'll read A Brave New World. I used to read.
Here's the thing: I won't listen to audiobooks because in my mind it's cheating.
Yeah,
I'm like, you will read that book, you dyslexic piece of
shit. No, it's the same.
Well, then I'm listening to podcasts then and watching YouTube
podcasts
videos.
are much easier to listen to because they're conversational.
Mm-hmm.
A book, when you actually read prose, you kind of actually have to focus.
My favorite part about the book is reading it in your own tone.
That's true.
That's the best part.
I hate when
taking that away from you is why even read then. I'll just listen to a podcast.
My brother,
I'll listen to Dan Corlin explain the history instead of me reading it in a book.
Fair enough.
Right?
I mean, prose is hard to listen to sometimes.
What is
prose? Like book writing. Kyle,
word?
Use your book words. Yeah.
Prose.
Prose is
like
a story written. No, prose.
Like how
prose.
I was as an athlete.
Like poetry, you fucking asshole.
What?
Prose and poetry. Okay. We've got
prose and poetry, cons and music.
Oh my god.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, you nailed it.
Sweet.
Do you remember? Oh, what were we going to talk about off air?
You had a thing, and I.
Oh, it's something to do with. Oh, okay. So I was saying to Kyle before we started this podcast that the Bible sucks today because it's just another giant list of names, and I was trying to.
He was the snake in the Garden of Eden trying to convince me to abandon the whole premise of this podcast.
I don't like snake in the garden.
You are the snake. You're the snake, and I'm Eve.
Actually, that's totally true. I guess I did try to tempt you into not reading it.
Uh-huh.
I didn't like the word snake because I came and approached you directly, but
What's
I did
the difference?
with temptation. Well, the snake I feel like tries to trick, but I was just like,
okay,
what if
give me a better Bible?
No, it's perfect.
Okay.
It's perfect. I tried to tempt you into not doing what you're supposed to do. It's perfect.
Hey, what if we just read the good parts of the Bible? Oh, like what every Christian does?
We're better than them.
Yeah, we're better than them. We'll read the shit. By the way, we're reading this to save our goddamn souls.
Okay.
Obviously we're in Reparations or whatever it's called when Jesus comes back.
It's just reparations.
Whatever it's called, dude.
The resurrection.
Yeah, the reparations. This is when we all get our reparations of demons.
We all go to heaven where the streets are paved with gold and nobody takes shits. Okay. Yeah, I got called out. I was just reminded of, I watched Lex Friedman's podcast. Yes, I said watched. I said watched. Leave me alone.
Did you actually watch it?
Yeah, and he was talking about.
I watch that shit before I go to bed, so I only really. Eventually, I flip the phone over, and I'm just listening to it, and then I'm asleep.
He said he challenged Twitter to as many. He said I'll do as many push-ups and pull-ups as you guys retweet this. like there's no number too high. And
what?
Then it got up to 20,000. So he was supposed to do like 20,000 push-ups
over the
and
course
pull-ups,
of
30 days. So that's like 600 a day. He had it down to 30-minute increments. And then so he comes out, he says, well, that's kind of a lot. It's like, it's probably really bad for my body to do that many. I'm going to balance it out with these other exercises. And then he asked David Goggins his advice. David Goggins,
obviously,
he's like, you said there's no number too high. And he's like, fuck. So he's just doing pull-ups, and like 6 days in, he tears his shoulder apart. Right?
Yes. By the way, was there a time limit?
30 days.
That's
Yeah.
impossible.
Well, it wasn't
It's
impossible.
untrained.
It wasn't impossible because he restarted a month and a bit later after his shoulder was better and did it. So
Well, I meant impossible untrained to do it.
Yeah.
Because you're going to damage your body.
exactly. So I just felt like in my own pathetic, minimalistic way,
Mm-hmm.
you really call. I was like, Kyle, there's so many names in the Bible. There's this list of irrelevant people that we have to just
It's
get through.
not irrelevant. God put it in the only book he ever wrote. You know what I mean? At the very least, it's like reading those. I was watching some podcasts because I don't read, but I was watching it about books.
Yeah, so that's almost as good
Pretty
as
good.
reading. Watching people read is kind of like reading.
So there was these books. They weren't even reading them. They were just describing them.
Watching people read the backs of books.
There's these
The
books.
Inside Flap. It's
Mhm.
called a podcast by Kyle Vestner.
Oh God!
It's a book reading podcast.
For some reason, when I was a kid, I hated reading so much, but I wouldn't.
Now as an adult.
But I wouldn't cheat. I wouldn't get the cheaters.
Yeah.
Summaries. I wouldn't do it. So I'd make myself.
That shows a level of integrity.
Yeah, but for what? To what end?
Dude, integrity is an end to itself. That's how you have to look at it. And I know this is coming from a fat, depressed alcoholic, but
Skinny depressed alcoholic. Going to the gym though, gonna get jacked. Still be depressed, still be an alcoholic.
The act of doing it is the point. Just doing it for its own sake.
And you wanted to not read the Bible.
I know. You talked me into it, Kyle.
So they had these books, I guess, with real treasure hunts in them.
Yeah.
In like the 80s or 90s, or maybe even earlier. No, 80s minimum. So, and they had real life treasure hunts. So you had to code these. One of them was just paintings. You had to figure out the messages in the paintings. And one was like weird combinations of words, much like the Bible.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm saying at the very least, there's a secret code in there that God wants us to see.
Oh, there's those number files that like break down. Because the Hebrew alphabet's a numbered alphabet, right?
Yeah, it's base 7, I think.
I don't understand it, so I won't go into too much more than surface level that each letter corresponds to a number.
I think it's base 7.
And they were finding like dates for 9/11 in certain verses and shit. Like,
well, if you're solving,
exactly,
if
you're working backwards,
you
I
can
know.
do anything.
9/11. Let's find all the references to that and work backwards, and then somewhere in Daniel.
I've also been watching like the stats for the U.S. election.
Mm-hmm.
The people. It's just manipulation on all sides. Like, people are just making their argument clear-cut one way or clear-cut the other way, depending on what side you're on, when it's obviously somewhere in the middle.
The guy, I heard a interesting thing, and I don't. Never mind. I'm not going to talk about things I don't understand or know about.
Well, then don't ever speak again.
Good point. Okay, I can't vouch for the veracity of this.
Yeah, these aren't George Carlin's thoughts.
Oh,
I think I just broke the chair.
You fat fuck.
Yeah, a little bit. No, it's fine.
You've been lifting too hard. Okay, so I don't know if this is true, but I can't remember where I heard it.
These are not Caleb's original thoughts, and they are not.
None of my thoughts are original.
They are not from.
Just so you know.
They're not Dan Carlin.
Yeah.
So he doesn't remember who else it could possibly be.
I think it was Sam Harris, but the decentralized nature, aka dysfunctional nature of the U.S. election system, actually. Because it's so fucking dysfunctional, it's really hard to commit fraud. The courts are finding. That's one thing I heard.
Well, there's always going to be fraud in something that grand of a scale. There's going to be fraud if there's that much at stake. But I don't think there's going to be enough fraud to change the results.
Me neither. And hey, in case you were looking for hardcore cutting
history
commentary,
then you go for Dan Carlin, and then after that you come into this podcast.
He came out with a new one. I listened to it 3 times this week.
Do you want to describe it instead of
no.
reading the Bible?
No.
How about I'll read the list of names and you describe Dan Carlin's podcast?
Did you? I mean, that would probably be more interesting. However, do you remember what we read about last week, though, Kyle? That's how we always have to start this.
Yeah, the Jews.
Of course, it's the book about the Jews.
Yeah, that's what we're reading about. King Solomon.
Yeah. What's he famous for?
For being the smartest man in the world.
There you go. All time.
Yeah.
And
All
demonstrated by?
All-time smartest, all-time second biggest cock.
Okay, next to?
King David.
King David, his father. First of his name.
Yeah. Not everything gets handed down.
So the line of David has been getting shorter and shorter, so to speak.
Yeah. His bloodline.
Yeah, because they keep cutting a little bit too much off the end every time.
That's how
they used to have massive cocks, and they just trimmed them down.
Shrinks your dick. That is past your genetics. Your dick size. You know how they say like you being fat? Like
do they say that? I was about to ask.
Yeah, they do. Stats.com. You can. Apparently, they're finding out that how you treat your body at the time you like fuck.
Yeah. Male
and female. Some version of
So
those
you're saying I should do
pass.
some push-ups, get some nice pump on my cock, and like really like flex it when I fucking nut?
Yeah, you gotta force the last one in. Yeah. If you want a tough kid, you really gotta okay. The last pump. It has to hurt a little. And you can never let her be on top. That's insanity.
It's just gravity.
What do you want, a girl?
Apparently, the sex of the baby is up to the guy. It's decided in the male sperm, not
For
the
some
not the
reason,
egg.
I've never believed any of those things. Like how genetics is just one way or the other.
The egg
your hairline is from your mom's side, and I just never believed it was that concrete.
Well,
I just assumed it was an arm wrestle negotiation.
There's certain things that they know for sure, like with fucking plants, genetically modified plants, and the hairline is one we actually know for sure.
That's what they say.
Was your mom's dad bald?
Yes.
Then you're fucking going bald, man. That's it. You're doomed.
But my dad's bald too.
Give up.
I mean, it makes no difference for me which argument.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because my grandfather, on my dad's side, who I never met, he was bald. But my grandfather, who I know, has great old man white hair, like a full head of old man white hair.
That is dope. You know what? The salt and pepper in your 40s is like that's a dope look. You have to have hair for that, though.
I'm starting to get salt and pepper a little bit. Moving on to the podcast. So then,
stress will do that.
The podcast, or what? The podcast. The prostitutes got pregnant right at the same time.
Podcast prostitutes
gave birth to 2 babies within 3 days. One prostitute sleeps on the other one's baby. Right?
Murders it.
Wasn't a murder. It was an
Manslaughter.
accident. Manslaughter would be the term.
Mm-hmm.
And
with her car.
But she pulls the old switcheroo, takes the dead baby, tucks it under the takes it the live baby, puts the dead baby where the live baby used to be. They fight about it. Could you imagine?
That's a good bit. I can't believe this next part came from the Bible.
When they showed these pictures in kids' coloring books, I had a lot of Bible coloring books, and these were the kinds of stories that you would read. They'd always have the women literally fighting over the baby, like one woman tugging on the leg and the other woman tugging on the arm, as if a baby was sturdy enough to hold like a tug of war. Like with your dog on a dirty jersey or something like that.
Yeah, they'll wrestle with it. They'll pull it apart like a fucking.
I just had
like they're drawing and quartering the baby, but they won't cut it in half.
I just had an image of that in my old coloring book. The 2 women fighting over a literal baby, as if that's. And what kind of a parent? Mom and Dad, I love you.
Whores aren't that smart.
I know, but what kind of a parent thinks that's acceptable reading material for a little kid? Like I don't know.
It didn't fuck you up.
Not at all. I don't blame them. I blame myself.
Really? That's the only thing to do.
Well, at some point, they've given me every opportunity to improve my life and continue to help me. I have to take some sort of responsibility.
Maybe that's the mistake they made.
Yeah? No, I don't think they made that. That's not the mistake that they made. I wouldn't be here.
Setting you free.
I wouldn't be here.
Setting you free.
Moving on. So.
Oh, God. Oh, Lord.
So anyways, King Solomon in all of his wisdom decides that he's going to cut the baby in half, give one to the one to the other.
Genius.
And of course the mother, who's the real mother,
which half do you take if you want? Do you get the top half or the bottom half?
I mean, babies are only good for 2 things.
Yeah.
Fucking and eating. And if you're gonna eat this baby, I think you
Eating
want
the
the
bottom
legs.
half, yeah.
I think you want little baby legs.
And if you're gonna fuck it,
Still the bottom half.
you.
That is gross. Okay.
Now kill a puppy.
Okay, moving on. 1 Kings chapter 4.
Mm-hmm.
We defy you to like this podcast every single week.
I dare you.
Tell your friends. It's
Hey,
about
Wesky,
baby
dude.
fucking
Wesley,
and
dude.
eating. In that order. 1 Kings chapter 4.
I think I defy you to like the podcast.
I don't. I hate this podcast.
Mhm.
I do this podcast as a public...
Service announcement?
Yeah, well, somebody has to offset my mom's insanity, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. 1 Kings chapter 4. So King Solomon ruled over all Israel.
What is Stacy doing?
Oh, just predicting nonsense and then praying it away.
That's awesome.
The fucking...
Is it online?
Yeah, it's online.
How do I get to it?
There's a YouTube channel.
Uh-huh.
I don't really want you guys to go there. You can find it if you want to find it, but
You can tell me after, because I do want to find it, and I do want to talk about it on this
sincerely,
podcast.
if you do find it, I ask you not to troll. Oh God, why'd I do this?
Yeah, don't do it. What are you doing, dude?
I thought because people like me.
Some do. Some do for sure. Some call you the Lord of Hosts.
I am the Lord of Hosts, though. I accept the moniker. It's a fact. It's a fatso. Okay. What was I talking about? Was I just reading?
If you do, write Bible Beaters Podcast in all the comments.
Yeah, do that. That's fucking awesome. Oh my! No, don't do that.
Bible Beaters brought me
No,
here.
don't do that.
Bible Beaters brought me here.
That'll be real bad for my mom's brand if her
Well, I
fucking...
just go, we love you, Stacy. Bible Beaters brought me here. And then say, oh God, oh Lord.
Oh God, oh Lord are acceptable. They eat that shit up.
Yeah.
A lot of blessings. Do you know what the fucking most brutally ironic part about this is?
What?
Is I fucking moderate that, so I'll be removing the comments.
Don't remove the comments.
I have to. It's part of my job. If people say insane shit or personal
That's
shit...
insane shit.
No. You don't understand. I mean...
You don't understand. I ain't skating, motherfuckers.
all the stuff that's not relevant, I have to delete. That's my job.
You don't understand.
What?
I walk out, take my something.
What the fuck are you talking about?
I can't remember the bit. Doesn't matter. I pull my
First
shit out. This
ki-
whole room goes dark. Give me some of that, DJ.
Okay,
You don't understand.
shut up. Okay, Solomon's officials and governors. Now, so King Solomon ruled over all Israel, and these were his chief officials: Azariah, son of Zadok, the priest; Eliloreph, and Ajahaj. That wasn't even close. Ahijah, sons of Shisha, secretaries;
Ooh.
Jehoshaphat, son of Ahud, recorder; Benaiah, son of Jahida, commander-in-chief; Zadok, you might recognize some of these names from earlier in the stories.
Can we get a beat to this?
Benaiah is the second generation Joab. He did a lot of the dirty work for Solomon. Zadok and
Is
Abathar.
this the list of names right now?
Yeah.
Okay.
Azariah, son of Nathan, in charge of the district of officers. Oh, isn't that interesting? Nathan the prophet.
Yeah. Nathan the prophet what?
Best friends with Bathsheba, directly helped facilitate Solomon coming to the throne when Adonijah had already claimed it. His sons are appointed priests and personal advisors to the king.
Well, God probably said that, right?
No nepotism there.
Do they claim no nepotism in the Bible?
No, they don't.
They
But
don't. They
when
just-
you read it, though, if you were to read it, like as we read it, doesn't it seem like a human story full of human characters and not like God's got some big plan?
No,
Doesn't it read like a lot of...
but God, if God created the humans,
Exactly.
and He knows the plan,
Exactly, you got
then
the-
it is Him.
So it's all gone according to exactly just like a human plan. God could have been in charge of the Chinese. They have a lot of fucking dynasty
Why isn't
coups. He is. I mean, he's technically the Lord of all the earth. My point is,
he is in charge of the.
When you read other histories, they sound very similar with coups and plots and people getting appointed and like family ties.
Wouldn't that be just more proof that God is controlling everything? That the same thing is repeating itself?
I guess you could say that. It's just human nature. As I read this, it doesn't seem like God's divine plan that he picked Solomon, right? You see the other guy have a party. You see the coup exist. And then they go, God appointed Solomon king. It's like, no. All those officials work behind the scenes. You can read it in the text. Nathan, they kill the other people. They kill Adonijah, in the next year. And then all of a sudden he's the king. And it's like God made it happen that way. And then you read the story. It's like.
Maybe it's like this. You know how like you ever see those Rube Goldberg machines?
No, I don't even know what that is.
That's where you start the momentum off with something and it creates a chain reaction, whether sliding down, knocking objects to create the next thing, fires in it.
Your perpetual motion machine, are you saying?
No, it's like you drop a marble down a track, it hits a thing, knocks some cards over, the cards hit a thing, and that swing across,
I can't where you're going with this. Some sort of destiny.
And at the end, you end up pouring a glass of water.
Yeah.
Right?
Okay, yeah.
So maybe God doesn't just want to pour the glass of water. Maybe he wants to make it cool for him.
Yeah, I mean, that's a pretty good explanation.
Right?
If you're going to...
Because why would God he could pour the water anytime he wanted, but let's see if this works. Pushes all these buttons.
The thing is, he knows if it works. That's the problem.
That's true, but you could.
But
I still
he could go
I
through
still
the
like
rigmarole.
it when the Rube Goldberg machine works.
Yeah, you get to watch the ball fall around, so he does
cool.
it for that reason alone. That somewhat makes sense, but it again relies on the premise that everything is the way God. You work backwards from God being in charge. I don't know. I feel.
Well, we are working backwards because we're reading it from a book.
Exactly.
He wrote.
Well, that's I guess all we can do. Is that what you're saying?
No, I'm saying God exists and he's Rube Goldberging us.
That makes a little bit of sense, even like
I bet you I can come up
theologically.
with better arguments than most Christians.
That is one of the most arrogant.
Just
things
starting with the premise that I don't believe it.
Yeah.
I think it's easy. I don't have narrowed vision already. I'm not starting off with narrowed vision.
Yeah, but you're not starting off with narrowed vision, but then the problem is you don't know the text. So it has to.
Right now, you're reading it.
I'm reading it right now. So after we get through the Bible, then I would like to hear your Christian.
No, I still won't remember any of it. I'm gonna have to filter it all through.
The greatest minds have been intensely focused on this.
Well, has anyone said Rube Goldberg machine?
All right, you heard it here first. Abishar.
Also, God knew I was gonna play this beat.
Don't play a beat.
Why not?
Abishar in charge of the palace. Adoniram, son of Abda, in charge of forced labor.
This sucks. Yeah, it's way worse.
Solomon also had 12 district governors
How is that a beat?
over all Israel, who supplied provisions for the king and the royal household. Each one had to provide supplies for 1 month in the year. That's kind of an interesting system of management. Did you hear that?
Yeah, who had to supply it for 1 month in a year, though?
You can't even listen to a paragraph.
I was changing the thing around so the beat's off.
Solomon had 12 district governors in charge of Israel, and who supplied provisions for the king and the royal household. Each one had to supply supplies for 1 month of the year. Supplies.
So they had to get their people to make 1 month of
So
supplies.
the king goes around, yeah.
So we're forming a government.
So if it was Canada, yeah, BC pays for the government in January.
Do nothing and then demand everyone
Alberta
to give them
pays
money?
for the government in February.
Alberta probably pays for it 8 months of the year.
That's probably realistically.
Yeah.
But what I'm saying is, that's how he managed the country. He didn't have like a tax system.
Okay,
they just provided for
all
him.
the government is Ontario, and they'd be like the what's the priests? The Levites.
The Levites.
So Ontario's the Levites,
Mm-hmm.
and the rest of the country gives all the shit to them, and then they divvy it back to us while never providing anything.
But what's interesting about that, and is
they do have art.
No. They're talking about being the size. You remember 1 million fighting men? That's how many men they have.
Mm-hmm.
It sounds pretty hard to me. Again, I'm not an administrator, but it sounds pretty hard to me to facilitate all that through like a 1 month supply system. Usually, bigger empires have kind of like a percentage tax system. So it's a lot. It's a big strain, I would say. Maybe not. It's only a month of the year. Just seems weird. You don't hear of almost anywhere else managed that way.
That is weird, but are they doing it? Are they expected to have 1 month's worth or do a whole month? Because those are two completely
12
different
district
things.
governors who
Because
supplied...
it would really suck to get winter. You know what I mean?
Yeah, well, this is what it says. 12 different governors who supplied provisions for the king and the royal household. Each one had to provide supplies for 1 month in the year.
Yeah, so I think it doesn't matter.
Well,
I don't think we have to nitpick that.
sure. Okay, Ben-Hur in the hill country of Ephraim.
Ben-Hur?
There it is.
It's like the movie.
Yeah. So Ben means son of. So Benjamin is Benjamin, like son of Benjamin.
Benjamin?
Yeah, son of Benjamin. Or son of Jamin.
That's Jamaican Benjamin.
Ben Decker in Makaz. Shalabim. Dude, fucking
What are we reading right now?
names again. Beth Shemesh. These are the 12 people that supply. These are the 12 governments. Ben Hesed in Abroth. Succo.
My dicko.
Succoth and the land of Heifer were his.
What are
Ben Abinadab in the Nephoth Dor. He was married to Tapath, daughter of Solomon. Benah, son of Ahilud.
Are these on the screen, Young T?
Yeah, verse 12 right there.
Okay.
Benah, son of Ahilud. I'm also reading them horribly. I have never
That's
read
what
this.
I was checking.
I've never read this out loud once in my life.
Oh, there it is. Gotcha.
A professional would be in his kitchen and read this out loud once before. No, I glanced at it. I said, I'm going to convince him not to read the names. Professional punt? Yeah, which we are not.
No.
Jesus, I keep upping the mic. That's also a rookie move.
Uh-huh.
Benah, son of Ahilud, and Tanak, and Megiddo, and all of Beth
That's
Shan.
Magneto's brother.
Next to Zerath.
He's Jewish Magneto.
Zarathan, below Jezreel from Beth Shan.
Instead of being able to control metal, it's only coins.
That'd be a pretty good superpower.
That's pretty dope. Still not bad.
From Beth Shan.
As soon as it loses its value, though, it no longer is able to use it. So
it's
as soon
directly
as you melt it into a base metal, no, it has to have a government-sponsored currency.
Beth Shan, Abel, Mehala, across Jokmeam.
Joke meme.
Jokmeam.
That's a 2020s name right there.
Dude, the Bible is prophetic.
Who knew?
Or maybe if you were pronouncing it like in Yiddish, it'd be Yachbim. That's how I would guess you would pronounce that. Ben Geber in Ramoth Gilead, the settlements of Jair, son of Manasseh. Gilead were his, as well as the district of Agrob in Bethshan, and its 60 large walled cities with bronze gate bars. Ahinadab, son of Iddo in Mahanaim. Dude,
These are nonsense words.
if anybody is like listening to this,
You have to. The only way you can pronounce this is with a mouthful of water.
it's terrible.
Like, there's no way. You have to be gargling toothpaste.
If you were like doing this while something else was on, I think it would scramble your brain. Like, what the fuck is happening?
We could take this.
Or imagine you're picking someone up in your car right now, and they just get in, and it's just Benah, son of Hushai, and Asher and Aloth. Ahimaaz and Naphtali had married Basemath, daughter of Solomon.
We're gonna.
Jehoshaphat, son of Peruah in Issachar. Shimi, son of Elah in Benjamin.
We're gonna.
Geber, son of Uri in Gilead, the country of Sihon, king of the Amorites, and the
gonna-
country of Og, king of Bashan. He was the
Fuck!
only governor over the
Son of a
district.
bitch.
I'm finished now.
I said we're gonna accidentally.
Dude, I
engage-
like that I did. That was power through the interruption there.
Really did.
That's a newfound power I didn't realize that I had.
Stole my timing.
Just filibuster.
I was like, we're gonna accidentally engage some Israeli secret agents
In what?
with these code words.
Oh, yeah. That's the signal. Benjamin in the house of Gilead. Burn it down. Attack.
Because who says this shit? That's your mission. Just blast this in public.
Dude, this might be...
Yeah.
Realistically, who's the last person to read this out loud? I mean, I guess they read
Us
it in
right now.
church. There's certain churches that do go through the Bible
This
week by
exact
week.
thing.
Yeah.
I bet you we're of like one of 100 this year in the world.
Yeah, I mean, definitely that. I would
Out
say.
loud.
Yeah, I would say less. I would say less than 100
Not
people.
talking those retards who
In the
read out
whole
loud by
world.
themselves.
No, those count.
Well, there's people that read the Bible every single day front to back, isn't there?
Not every single day. I think that would be impossible.
Isn't that those crazy ass?
But yeah, there's people that read the Bible in like 3 months every year. Like they just keep reading it. Imagine you were that like.
My grandma kind of does that.
Why? What? How do you get so obsessed with one thing?
She wants to go to heaven. It's a pretty big thing. How do you get so obsessed with eternal salvation? You fucking idiot. saving your
It's
eternal
imaginary.
soul.
I don't know.
They're so obsessed with it. I think I told this before, but my grandpa on his deathbed had a dream.
Mm-hmm.
He got to the point where he had both his legs cut off, diabetes, all that thing, and he had a dream, so he knew it was coming. There was no mystery that he was going to live for a lot longer. And he had a dream that he got up to heaven. They showed him the bad stuff he'd done in his life, and they said, "You got in. You barely got in." And he woke up and he went, "I got in!" Like he thought 100% he wasn't getting in.
That's great that he got in.
He's in.
That's great that his subconscious got him in. Because I hate myself, so my subconscious would be like,
I hate myself for loving you.
You're not getting in, and there's no way. And then you just get shown the fiery pit of hell, and you die terrified.
And everyone's raving, and I'm like, no, that's not fun. That is my hell.
And everyone's raving. All right, so that's the end of the names. Okay, Solomon's...
That wasn't that bad.
Wasn't that bad. I mean...
To eliminate... Like, what we have to be worried about is the gay-ass poetry. Is God's gay poetry.
That's funny, though.
It's funnier.
It's funny to talk about wanting to fuck God. That's funny.
But it's not just that, though. That's just a little bit of it, right? Because we read some.
Oh, there's all kinds.
And it's like nonsense.
I mean, it's nonsense. The Psalms, a lot of people take a lot of solace,
I believe,
in the Psalms.
You're asking a guy that doesn't read, but I believe it's solace.
Solomon's daily provision. So you were asking what people need? Remember when he said each governor provided for a month of the year? This is what Solomon's daily provisions were. The people of Judah and Israel were as numerous as the sand on the seashore.
So they effectively quartered up the citizens and went, because daily provisions.
Okay.
Is this one guy's monthly daily provisions?
Let me read it, okay? The people of Judah and Israel were as numerous as the sand on the seashore.
Ooh, now we're in the billions of trillions.
I think we can safely say this is one of the problems with the Bible. You can safely say that's a metaphor, right?
We can say maybe Jews
are
as numerous as bacteria, and that's why they infect everything.
Why do you got to use the negative metaphor every time?
Why? What do you mean?
I mean,
what else is that? We've already covered sand. I can't do sand again.
They said stars.
Dirt's redundant.
They said stars. They said stars in Genesis. You'll outnumber the stars. Now
that's not even that many. They don't even know about the universe. They're just looking up, thinking that what they can see. That's 100,000.
Something like that. Yeah.
Yeah. Of visual stars.
But the universe. Yeah. But the universe is actually bigger. But so I
actually have no idea what that actually is.
We're more back. I'm more interested in the philosophical aspect of it.
They're bacteria.
Why?
Why not?
Why do you have to go with the super negative metaphor every time? Okay, but
some bacteria is good. Yeast is good. It's in the fucking Bible.
Okay, but you say it as if it's a bad thing. You say it as if
I did not. You're inferring it.
Okay, okay. We'll just keep track of all the negative metaphors that Kyle uses. Last podcast, they're lizards. When's the last time you said something?
That's a fact.
They're superpowers, subtracting coins. When's the last positive thing you said about a Jewish person?
How is being coined? You just said it was awesome yourself. If that was true.
That was funny.
You said it would be sweet. Would you like to be Jewish, Magneto?
I was thinking of shooting
That's
coins.
Awesome.
I was thinking of shooting coins.
I wouldn't even have to worry
bullets.
about the government-sponsored benefits. I could just suck them through my wall.
Okay, well, let's move on.
How would you spend that many loonies, though? That'd be the tough part.
At strippers in Alberta.
I'm making it rain.
Okay. No, that's not making it hail.
God damn it.
When you throw shade.
That is the trashy shit of all time.
Okay, what were we just reading about? There's numerous. No, we were talking about the metaphor thing, though. So as the Bible, like Jesus talks in metaphor and like allegory all the time, right? Analogies. He's like, you are the shepherd, like I'm the shepherd and you're sheep. Follow me like mindless animals. But people always go, that's obviously a metaphor. He's talking about how he's in charge. So if your soul's on the line, do you read these metaphors as like, are they going to be as numerous as the sand on the seashore? Or, which is impossible, obviously, or is it the obvious allegory? Now, if it's the obvious allegory, now we're into the like quagmire, the marsh of interpreting the Bible, right? That
is a bad place to be.
See, but that one's fucking obvious. But when it gets
it's obvious to a point, but the amount that we thought they've exaggerated the population based on their other analogies so far.
Okay, but that one's obvious, right? That one's an obvious metaphor. But then when they get to like things like Noah and the Ark or the Tower in Babel, which they present as fact, people go, "That's an obvious allegory to the just having too much pride and trying to they didn't actually do that, right?" And now we're into the business of
Noah's Ark, though.
Exactly.
How could that possibly be one?
I'm saying at the far end of the spectrum. I don't really want to argue about that.
Because the only allegory, I don't even know what that word means. The only thing you could reference would be that there was no flood.
Well,
you can't have the flood and the giant boat being a euphemism.
It was an object lesson. It was trust God or He won't do stuff.
But if it never happened,
see, that's my point though. Don't get hung up on Noah's Ark. I'm hung up on the point of, I'm now doing this with my hand again, of whose authority, who gets to interpret the Bible. Because forever it was the Pope, right? So the Pope has the final word on God, and he would add shit and take away from the Bible as he saw fit. And now we're getting into
a perfect job.
We're getting into, though, man just proclaiming what the Bible says.
Oh, speaking of the Pope, did you hear the scandal?
No.
The Pope liked on the Pope's Instagram or Twitter account, liked a big booty slut.
Do you think it was the actual Pope? Do you think he goes? It was his fucking staff.
You think the Pope goes on that?
I don't think so.
Zero chance.
On
but
Instagram.
The Pope has an official Instagram or Twitter.
Yeah.
I think Twitter.
Dude,
But it was like a Catholic girl uniform. It was like almost impossible for that to be.
You think it was hacked, or do you think it was like an aid?
I think an aid was like, this will be funny. Click.
I bet you.
If the Pope's thing gets hacked, it gets a lot worse than that.
Probably, hey?
Yeah.
I figure it was just his Twitter guy thought he was on his own account. And was like, oh, fuck yeah, dude, Catholic school. At least it was a girl. At least it was a girl and not like altar boys. I guess it would be more appropriate to like altar boys in this sense. If the Pope was liking pictures of choirs, that wouldn't be weird.
No.
So my joke didn't work, is my point.
I get what you meant. You could have just stuck with it.
Well, you just
stared at me. Because he fucks him.
Because you guys.
But you never want me to get into it.
Get into what?
Little boys' assholes.
Oh, yeah. Okay, so the people of Judah and Israel were as numerous as the sand on the seashore. They ate.
That's so many.
They drank, and they were happy.
There's numerous as corona patients.
And Solomon ruled over all the kingdoms, from river to the land of the Philistines, as far as the border of Egypt. These countries brought tribute and were Solomon's subjects all his life. Solomon's daily provisions were 30 cores, that is probably 185 bushels or 6.6 kiloliters. So 66 cores of meal. I'm going to read all the measurements and then tell you how much it is after.
Sure.
There were 30 cores of fine flour, 60 cores of meal, 10 head of stall-fed cattle, 20 of pasture-fed cattle, and 100 sheep and goats.
They had grass-fed and regular-fed back then, too?
Yeah.
That's not a new thing?
That's what it says. It says stall-fed cattle.
That's crazy.
And pasture-fed.
I assumed it was always grass-fed.
It's on the fucking label. I want the grass-fed.
I gave you $200 and you came back with stall-fed?
That's funny.
What, are we at a Campbell dinner?
The pasture-fed cattle, 100 sheep and goats, as well as deer, gazelles, roebucks, and choice fowl. For he ruled over all the kingdoms of the West River, from Tippash to Giza, and he had peace on all sides. So his daily provisions, 6.6 kiloliters of meal.
This just for him?
This is him and his household, obviously. His what he requires.
He's got a lot of slaves.
It's like if it was like it'd be like Trump's campaign if
That's
it was today.
That's an outrageous amount of slaves.
375 bushels of 13.2 liters of meal, 6.6 liters of flour or kiloliters of flour.
I wish they could just go a lot.
40.
You know, because then we could just scale that up to whatever time we feel like.
Yeah.
It was a lot. It wasn't that much. It was a lot for the time.
But that's every day, so times 30, and that's coming out of one part of Israel.
That sounds like how much they ate, like 2 chapters ago.
I guess.
All of Israel.
I wonder if that would feed, how many people that would feed.
A day?
A day. That's his daily provisions. That's what he needs every day. And he's taking 30 times that from each of the 12 tribes. Right? That seems like a lot.
I guess there is as much Jews as the sand.
Oh, I have another correction to make. I should really make these off the beginning. But I said they found David's face on coinage. That's not true. It was some sort of tablet that they found in Egypt, not coinage. But it was much later.
Do you think it's ironic that there wasn't? I'm not going to make the joke.
Solomon's wisdom.
Fuck. That was a bad one.
29, verse 29. God gave Solomon wisdom and very great insight and breadth of understanding as measureless as the sand on the seashore. You just made that fucking simile.
I was going to say the only time that's been true is right after the Holocaust.
What? What's been true?
Jews are like sand.
Oh, before that, yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
no, I meant after.
They had many. There's the sad thing, the horrible thing is there was a lot of Holocaust up into the Holocaust.
Yeah.
They're coming up to one in a couple. Right here, Kyle.
I saw a hilarious debate online.
I know you don't read, but if you were to read ahead, there's a giant Jewish Holocaust in like 10 chapters. The funny thing is, it's one of those words that just changed meanings, even though it hasn't. So anytime someone uses Holocaust, they always assume Jews. If you say Holocaust, there's been lots of Holocausts. They go, no. People go, no. I saw an argument, this is like 10 years ago at a poker game that Norm Macdonald was in, a celebrity poker game. And he mentioned Holocaust. Everyone's like, there's only one Holocaust. You're talking about a genocide. He's like, no, there's been other Holocausts. And they're like, no, only if it was the one with the Jews. And somehow someone said it was justifiable genocide. They're like, what the fuck are you talking about? Is that what the definition of Holocaust is?
No, it's just some dumb fucking
idiot?
retard. Yeah.
Because, yeah, there's the Armenian Holocaust, genocide.
Yes.
But there's killing fields, Cambodia.
Every attempt at genocide that's fairly successful is a Holocaust.
Yeah, they're just synonyms. But they got, like, the in front of it. So they really take the most credit.
What's the most recent, isn't it?
The killing fields in Cambodia
the most recent
was more and more recent.
Actually, that's true.
But theirs was the most systematically targeted. There's something pernicious, especially fucking evil about that one.
I guess the systematic nature, because I was like, in communism, they starved so many people and like murdered so many people, but it wasn't round them up as efficiently as possible and do it. It was just, they'll die, we don't care.
Yeah.
And then whoever tries to fight back will kill.
Easy.
Yeah.
Revolution comes out the end of a gun. That's what Mao said. Anyways, Solomon's wisdom was greater than the wisdom of all the men of the East, and greater than all the wisdom of Egypt.
We already know that. He's the smartest guy in the world.
Of all time. And
it's fucking redundant.
And future time. He
and
was
forever and ever times infinity.
You'll like this, Kyle. He was wiser than any other man, including Ethan, the Ezrite.
This fucking dude we don't even know.
He's wiser than him. He was wiser than...
It really makes me believe that he's not.
He was wiser than Heman, Calcol, and Darda, sons of Mahol. He was wiser than Kyle Vestner and Angus Crabdick.
Who's that?
That's what it says right here.
Who's Angus Crabdick?
The guy that lives in your closet. And they started a sentence with a conjunction. Didn't you guys pass grade 3? Capital A, and his fame spread to all the surrounding nations. That is a fucking serious.
How did he prove his intelligence?
We told you he was gonna cut the baby in half, and that tricked the girls.
I know.
That's it, man. That's the smartest thing anyone's ever done. Bow to his wisdom.
It's pretty clever.
Smarter than anybody.
But they have like a wisdom off because those other smart dudes were they like, wow, I could have never thought of that.
Well,
that's smart.
we know
that these like his contemporaries, like in the scientific community, his contemporaries have built him up. He's like, he is Einstein.
Yeah, we know that he was the most wise because there's no archaeological evidence of him existing, which is the greatest part. The smartest guy to ever live didn't leave a lasting invention credited to him. Nothing. Not a paper written, not a math proof. Like even Pythagoras figured out like the fucking triangle in the square, right?
Huh?
You know Pythagoras theorem?
What about the circle? Did he do that one?
No, that was
what about the rhombus?
I think Archimedes. Archimedes was the mad scientist that was all about water displacement. I'm just saying things to try and make you feel like an intellectual midget.
Yeah, dude, like that. Stuff like that.
He spoke
I'm
300.
an intellectual little person, by the way.
Okay, so thank you. And his fame spread to all the surrounding nations. Verse 32. He spoke 3,000 proverbs, and his songs numbered 1,005. He described plant life from cedar.
It's weird that they added the 5 this time. They've been rounding shit off.
No, there was
for 2 years.
Don't forget the 5. There was 5 more than 1,000. He described plant life from cedar of Lebanon to the hyssop that grows out of the walls. He also taught about animals and birds, reptiles and fish. Men of all nations came to listen to Solomon's wisdom, sent by all the kings of the world who had heard his wisdom. That's pretty interesting.
So they're all coming to get TED Talks.
So yeah, basically he was the TED Talk center of the world of his time.
He's the Harvard.
Yeah, and it says he was famous.
So how long are kings traveling?
He
to
was
come hear
famous.
these words?
He was famous in Persia, Persia, Egypt, all over the world. Right? No Persian records exist of King Solomon. No Egyptian records.
Do they have
exist.
a lot of records of the time that he's supposed to have existed?
I can't answer that intelligently. It's about 1,000 BCE. I would assume they have some, right? That's pretty long ago, though. But that we don't have any surviving records of this guy. The Queen of Sheba, who's from, I think, Ethiopia, he has kind of a thing with her, and Ethiopia takes credit for it hundreds of years after the fact because it's in the Bible. Maybe it actually happened, but people say that they probably read it in the Bible and took credit for it after. Anyways, I think that brings us to the end of reading today. No? We got another chapter? Okay, here we go. Preparations for building the temple, chapter 5. This is kind of... Oh, it's not that long.
We can read as much or as little as you want.
I didn't read ahead, and the temple's kind of an important thing.
All right, we're good then.
We'll set it up.
Young T, what are we at? Yeah, we're fine.
We're great. We've been going long anyway.
Lovely.
Did you learn anything today?
Can't handle 2 hours of hot fire like that. Spin hot fire.
Did you learn anything today, Kyle?
I learned that the smartest guy in the world is smarter than everyone else named.
It's true. Ethan.
Yeah. I learned that God doesn't know what redundant means.
Ezrahite.
Which now means I'm smarter than him.
Okay. Every week, Kyle comes to the conclusion that he's God. Do you sense?
Yes, I'm God's God.
Some sort of complex, some sort of.
By the way, I'm starting a camp for true believers.
Oh my God!
Who want to recognize the one and true God, me.
You have to get branded right above your vagina.
Yeah, what should I get?
Have you heard of Nexium?
No.
This guy founded a cult called Nexium, but he only targeted super hot like Hollywood actresses. So like the chicks from Smallville, they fell for it, came into his sex cult.
They got pussy tattoos? Or brandings?
Brandings with a fucking some sort of laser branding. And
that's dope.
It's dope.
I would get an arrow that says my fuckhole on all of them.
It's because you are his property. That's kind of the thing. He's now in jail. He coerced and blackmailed.
You're not allowed to do that?
No, if you hear the whole story, he coerced and blackmailed and threatened and did all kinds of evil shit.
Who's to say what's evil? Doesn't God say what's evil?
Doesn't
God decide what's good?
Evil is not a good word. We've established laws, and he broke our laws. Let's not call him emo.
Because
evil.
Let's not call him emo.
I can't speak today.
Let's not call him emo. If you call him emo, he starts.
I meant evil. You know what I meant.
He gets really depressed. He starts singing these with his whiny tone.
Oh yeah, I don't know who that guy is though.
Emo?
No, I know what emo is. I was just trying to think if that joke worked for the founder.
It's a phase God went through.
It's a phase. He'd be in it right now because first, yeah, he did get all emo. He literally got emo and drowned the world.
That's true.
He's like, I'm gonna cry until I drown the world. Get in this boat.
That was teenage God.
And then he like regretted it. He regretted making the world.
That's teenage God too.
He regretted making. I regret everything, and he cried until he drowned the whole world. And then he came afterwards. He was like, I've overreacted, and he said, "You'll know by this rainbow that I won't ever do that again." That's pretty.
He is God. Couldn't he just went and then? Now the world's
He could have hard reset the world, but like you said, he wakes to go through his fucking Rube's Goldman machine or whatever you called it.
That's it.
Steve
Ruberg.
Did we get any emails this week, Kyle?
What do you think, Caleb?
I think it's been 3 weeks.
Same thing I tell you every week.
I think it's been 3 weeks, and I'm hopeful. I haven't yet lost hope that we have no emails.
Well, we do have emails.
Woohoo! I knew you guys would pull through.
Dude, isolate that. I'm gonna need that drop. Do that again.
You just said isolate it. You do it in post. You just made more work for yourself. Woohoo!
It's very effeminate. Woohoo!
This is the only time I like checking my mail. I never like checking my text messages, Facebook messages, actual mail. It's all bad news. This is the only time it's good news.
Oh, this is the only time you'd ever turn on your phone because it's my phone?
Yeah. And then
you don't have to look at it. I can
get to
filter
read
it through you. Do you want to hear all the bad stuff?
Sure. You can start with. Do we get any hate? Did we
Our
get hate?
Instagram terms of service have changed.
Okay,
They've updated them.
Do we have any real email?
Apple Podcasts. Apple Podcasts wants to sell us some. I don't really know what they want. They've changed something.
God damn it, Kyle.
You asked for it, and God provided. You ask, and you shall receive.
We didn't get any real emails?
Yeah, we did.
Oh, my God.
Important Bible question.
Important.
Hey, Caleb and Kyle. That kind of intro makes me think that this must be a new listener.
I was about to say, it's nice to be called our actual names.
Which is odd.
Yeah.
I actually don't like it.
It's usually like dildos, nerds, Lardapos, Interrupter.
I don't care about Caleb's emails or what he wants. If you don't address him as an insult, I will refuse to read your email.
Oh, that's pathetic.
Is it?
It is.
Is it?
It is.
Well,
You're fired.
This is the boom mic is like
you can't even read. So good luck doing the podcast without me.
I'm gonna hang it down like this.
I've already proved I can do the solo
rock
cast.
star. There we go. It's dope, right?
Yeah, it looks great, man.
Yeah, sweet. I'm really glad to have found scholars like you to interpret my pressing Bible concerns. What you're doing is a service to the Bible community.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
I was wondering who we ironically answered this already today. That's so funny.
Yeah.
I was wondering who has the biggest dick in the Bible.
Oh man. Well,
I've answered that question.
You answered it
not 30 minutes ago.
Okay, but that was like a joke answer. Let's answer. Your first thought has to go with Goliath, the biggest guy to ever live. It would just,
proportionally,
like a weaver's rod.
But you know how like Kevin Hart's like 5 feet tall, but everyone says he's got a huge.
It looks. It appears.
Proportion?
Yes, it is.
You know what? It is like how every bodybuilder that wins every year is 5'8" because he just looks bigger.
But there's other candidates. We have to remember Samson, the strongest man to ever live. Maybe he just had the biggest balls because he had the most testosterone. He literally pushed down.
He probably has small balls. He was juicing. Yeah, he's juicing. He's got tiny balls. Tiny
he might have a massive dick, dude. He tore a lion apart with his bare hands. Tore this fucking jaw off. I synced it.
Here's how I can prove he had a small dick. Anyone going out of his way to prove how manly he is overcoming his small penis.
Well,
for sure. Anyone who rode a cool chariot, anyone who had a big house in the Bible, small dick.
Small dicks.
Yeah.
Let's look at other Jesus is the classic Sunday school answer because he was hung like this.
Hung like Jesus.
Yeah.
If you'd ever listened to an intro of our podcast, you already know the answer.
No, who else could we speculate? Jesus also being the Son of God, you think he would have endowed himself with a massive hammer?
Biggest dick
You'd think,
or most dick volume was whoever cut off those 200 dicks and brought them in one person.
That was David.
That was David. Well, he has the most volume of dick.
I mean, if he stapled those
penis volume,
if he fucking tied those together somehow,
if he human centipeded,
he would have the biggest dick
into one necrosis penis.
Yeah, necrofied.
Yeah, dude.
Gross.
I'll fuck you to death.
And because you asked, and I like the thought experiment, let's include mythical creatures. All right.
Wait, what if we asked your mom? What would her answer be religiously?
She would. I can't even imagine. My mom would say, "Don't." She would probably quote some verse about blasphemy and shake her finger.
Well, but wait. If God has spoken to her, maybe God showed her his penis.
Well, Mary's seen God's penis for sure. At least felt it.
Is that how that works?
No, but no one knows how it works. He could have just said, "You're pregnant," poof. Mm-hmm. But
But he likes to Rube
Okay,
Goldberg.
but let's continue
Yep.
with the big dicks in the Bible. There are the living creatures.
Mm-hmm.
There is Leviathan. There are angels who we're gonna assume are sexless, but they always are talked about in heat.
They're little babies with wings. They have tiny penises.
Those are cherubs.
Also, everyone that was put on a statue, and any time the Bible is on, tiny dick. All the statue dudes.
Well, there is no biblical statues because there's no such thing as carving images. Remember, you're not allowed to carve images because it's blasphemy. So conveniently, we don't have any carvings.
But there is though.
They carve
the Roman Empire.
The Roman Empire there is, but the Jews themselves don't carve any of their people. There's tons of people with
because they
carvings.
didn't have enough stone for the nose. Hell yeah, dude.
So, the living creatures might have massive hammers because they are mythical beasts covered in eyes. Even their dicks would be covered in eyes. And
interesting.
Then there's Leviathan, the demon, the massive fucking evil. Like, remember in This Is the End when that guy comes out of the ground, the horned giant demon with the whip, and he's got that massive cock? That's biblical.
That's biblical.
Well, there will be a fucking giant demon that comes out of the ground to
with
like
a huge piece.
It doesn't necessarily.
And by the way, the way he's going to torture you, he's going to pull down your pants, and you have to compare for all eternity.
That's it.
That's torture. Dude.
How would that be? I don't even care. I don't give a shit about anyone's dick but mine. Really.
That's only what a small penis dude says.
I've shown it to more people than you could. I mean,
yes.
Who do you think?
Yes, people with huge dicks don't go around showing their dick to everybody.
Yeah, but live. Excluding like film, like porn stars.
Mm-hmm.
Who do you think? I probably show my dick to more people. Like I'm in the top 1%
of pedophiles
of people of people who have seen my dick.
Most, I will say, hands down, you've shown your dick to more children than anyone I've ever heard of in my life.
That's awesome. I stand by that.
How many times have you streaked?
3 times, and then like at stadiums, and then like a couple times at like tournaments, and a lot of times at house parties.
Yeah, house parties, doesn't count. But.
Okay. Just to refute Kyle's point for a second, about showing kids my dick. I just want to put something on the record here.
Okay, fine. I thought we did that with the streaking.
He's referring.
He didn't specifically show children his penis. He did, however, indirectly show thousands of them his penis.
Yes. Well, he's referring to the part where the cop asked me. There was this cop, and she was trying to get me to admit that I was a pedophile. She's like, "Do you know how many? Do you know that there's children in the crowd?"
That's an insane goal.
And she's like, "Do you know how many children saw your penis?" She's like, "Do you like that? Does that get you off?" And I'm like, "No." And I'm like laughing. She's like, "You think it's funny?" I'm like, "Yeah,
yes.
I do think it's funny." And she's like, "You think it's funny to show kids your dick?" I was like, "Yes, and everybody else." I didn't like line up the kids and just like run by them with my cock. Everybody saw it, and they laughed. And then you could hear them chanting, "Let him out," outside the car. I'm like, those people outside chanting think it's hilarious. Then they fucking, we got to get him out of here, and then move me down into the belly of the stadium.
You're not allowed to do that. You ever contemplated that?
Are
we going to get to a point, you know how you like all the time nudity would be weird in the society we live in.
Yeah.
Like women being allowed to show their tits. I don't have a problem with it. But the ones that
the
ones that do are weird as fuck.
Yeah.
No, the weird as fuck. I
mean, if you're at the beach.
Do you remember No, that's not what I mean.
Just like downtown, like
in inappropriate
shopping.
places. Yeah,
okay.
Walking down the street. A private business can kick anyone out.
Yeah,
but I just mean walking down the street, sitting in front of on a curb, just take top off for no reason.
Where we live, it is. I'm sure there's places in Europe that people do that all the time.
Okay, that's weird.
You think it's
for
weird?
Sure, weird.
Yeah.
So I'm like, do you think we'll get to a place where you could just doesn't matter?
No, because also wearing clothes is a protection from the elements, and it's more comfortable.
I mean, where it's just how most women don't show their tits, but it's legal.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think it'll be legal for you to flash a crowd of people?
No, because
your small but thin penis.
There is an element of sexuality, and like if you're just kind of like
an element of sexuality in tits too.
I mean,
there's an element of sexuality in red lipstick.
This is what I said to the cop, and I mean, I hate to do this on the podcast, but like I had to explain to her, I was like, flaccid dicks are hilarious. Like if I had an erection and I was running around, that's threatening and menacing. But a flaccid dick is just like it's like a clown nose.
What about
it's just like honk, honk. It's like funny, like nobody cares. So yeah, if you're just kind of walking around flaccid, it's weird and gross. But if you're like a guy that's like flashing people with a fucking trench coat and you got a massive heart on, then it becomes.
What if you're like a chick walking just downtown, chilling everywhere, and you got like rock hard pointy nips? Just nips
it might
rocking
be cold,
out.
But yeah.
What if it's the hottest day of the year?
Maybe their nipples are just like that. But no, it's not as. There's not an obvious sign. I guess if you had a literal bucket and a mop for that, just like getting dragged between your legs, that would be too much for sure. Like that's the furthest end of that spectrum.
You're right, though. It's not even a little bit it's not menacing.
And half the population, by the way, half the population are not intimidated that woman is going to like hold them down and fuck them, right? Women are actually scared of men doing that.
Do you think?
So to have a naked guy walking around could be a little bit like threatening and ominous.
I like how you're acting like that's more dangerous.
What do you mean?
Being the guy being naked versus not being fully clothed. Like that guy's more dangerous naked.
I'm not acting
like the fraction of a second it takes to pull out his dick.
I'm not acting
is the
like
only
that.
obstacle.
You totally missed my point. My point is.
You know who else missed the point? Everyone in the audience when you streaked it.
Zing. My point is that they have to I don't know. It's a different. I didn't understand that most girls walk around terrified most of their lives.
You're saying most girls, but that's really not true. But a good part. I know plenty of girls that don't, and I know plenty that do.
Like Diana just today.
Diana's the worst example out of all the girls I was thinking about in my head. The absolute worst example of that for everybody.
Do you know what she said today?
And it's completely irrational 99% of the time.
You're gonna love this. Do you know what she said today? She's like, it gets dark out and I'm scared to like take Drea for a walk. Like I'm scared of being human trafficked. I'm like, Diana, it's never gonna happen to you. You're too old.
I wish she wasn't my friend because I want to say a bunch of jokes right now that I'm not going to say.
Anyways, I think that's the podcast this week. So finally, just to have the last word on biggest dick in the Bible. Mm-hmm. Biggest dick belonging to a human. I'm going to say Jesus Christ because why would the Son of God have a not biggest dick in the Bible?
What? Yeah, but we saw him in those tattered shorts, wasn't hanging out the bottom.
What do you mean you saw him? You saw a painting?
Yeah, whatever. That's the equivalent of a photograph today. You think if Jesus was walking, hanging dong outside his shorts all the time?
He hung out with prostitutes a lot.
Yeah, do you think no one would depict it in the art?
I mean, who knows? And then biggest mythical dick, we're going to say Leviathan, probably.
Thank you very much, Morris Bartlett.
Oh,
yeah.
Thanks, Morris. Good question. That's the podcast. Do you have anything to add, Kyle? If you want to send us emails, you can send it to BibleBeaters@CanadaComedy.ca.
If you want to check out the video, they come out every Wednesdays. Though sometimes they're quarter black, sometimes they're half black. Sometimes they're tan. The future of paradise for Caleb to live in.
Beige.
So you can go to CanadaComedy.ca, click the YouTube button on there, or you can probably just search Bible Beaters Podcast, to be perfectly honest with you. But subscribe. Please. Canada Comedy Network. That helps me out so I can finally change the address bar, make it easier.